It hasn't been perfect. I'm still not convinced they're a quote-unquote good team. But the Bears are finding a way to win. They've won 4 straight games.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Power Rankings Tuesday, one of my favorite days of the week because I talk about every single team, including your team, after I break down not one but 2 Monday Night Football games that were honestly a little bit disappointing. I thought there was a chance that they'd both be really competitive, close games till the end. That was not the case. We'll get to those momentarily. Then we'll get to all of the power ratings. Love those of you checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. You can check us out on social media. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Love diving into the games. Wish they were better, but still got to let you know what happened in the 2 Monday night games. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, we'll start with the Lions. They dominated the Buccaneers, who might have lost Mike Evans for the year, 24-9.
I just can't tell you how impressed I am by what the Lions did on Monday night. Incredibly impressive. No Kirby Joseph, no Terrion Arnold, even Avonte Maddox is hurt, and Brian Branch out with the suspension, and they still hold the Bucs to 9 points. I mean, who are some of these guys that were playing? Eric Hallett, Nick Whiteside, Thomas Harper. It is rare for me to not know who some of these guys are in an NFL game, but they all played well enough. And, you know, Baker just wasn't able to put forth the magic that we've seen a lot most of the time this year. You know, with the O-lineman down, then Mike Evans gets hurt. His stats weren't terrible with 28 for 50, 228 yards, but just 1 touchdown, the 1 interception. The other thing that jumped out, Jahmyr Gibbs. Are you kidding me, Jahmyr Gibbs? 78-yard touchdown run, 218 yards from scrimmage. So he had the 136 rushing and the 82 receiving. It's interesting because it was not a great Jared Goff night at all, but they were still able to get the job done primarily with the defense and Gibbs. And for the Bucs, you just start to wonder if it's too many injuries for them to overcome, because now you got Mike Evans down and you already were without Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Kalijah Cansey. It's such a shame because the Bucs, I think, have a really good team if they didn't have so many guys hurt.
Next up, Seattle. They're now 5-2 with a win at home over Houston, 27-19.
And this is because Seattle's defense is just that good. I mean, for them to have 4 turnovers and still win the game, that just does not happen in the NFL. That's a super bad look for the Houston Texans. The Texans only had 254 yards because the Seahawks defense was that good. They were all over C.J. Stroud. I'm surprised it was only 3 sacks. Smith and Jigba caught a touchdown pass. I feel like he's done that every game the whole year. Charbonnet was the one that carried the load, and Seattle did it without both Devon Witherspoon and Julian Love, which is amazing, as Smith and Jigba carried the day again, even though they were not good on 3rd down.
It's time for the all-important Power Rankings. The worst team in the history of the NFL is...
All right, Ross, we're going to kick off our power rankings here with the New York Jets. They're at 32 once again.
Well, there's some really bad teams. You know, when you go through this and you look at the Jets and Titans and Dolphins, and I think I'll put the Raiders in that category, there are some really poor teams. The Jets defense came to play against Carolina, gave them a chance to win, but then the offense didn't give them a chance to win. The Jets fluctuate which side of the ball actually gives them an opportunity to win these games. This time it was the defense, but the offense didn't show up. Aaron Glenn is non-committal as to who he's going to have at quarterback this week between Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor.
31st, Tennessee Titans.
They didn't really get the interim head coach or fired head coach spark that maybe they thought they would. I mean, I guess they did. They scored double-digit points early in the game, but then things kind of reverted back to the way they have been for the Titans. Cam Ward's really struggling to take care of the football, and without Jeffrey Simmons, their defense is a shell of what it was. Titans obviously really struggling.
30th is the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, not real good. So the problem for the Miami Dolphins is I think everybody can see the writing on the wall now for Mike McDaniel. Stephen Ross has said, I saw a report where he doesn't seem compelled to make a change at this time, but it seems highly likely at this point that the Dolphins are going to have both a new head coach and a new general manager, as it feels like it's time for them to totally clean house there in Miami.
29, Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders. Well, so the real question coming out of their performance against the Chiefs is how much of that is the Raiders are just that bad, and how much of it is the Chiefs are that good? It's a good question for Steve Fezzik on today's Even Money Betting podcast, because I think the Chiefs might really just be that good. Still, I don't care. It can't be that one-sided of a game like it was between those two teams.
28, New Orleans Saints.
You know, we've talked about it a lot on this show. The good news for the Saints is, oh, when the Saints come marching in, oh, when the Saints come marching in, they'll typically give you a competitive effort, but they will still lose the game like they did. So, look, the Saints, am I cracking you up today, Jack?
It's just the extended version of the Saints come marching in always gets me.
I'm trying. People like the singing, so I'm trying to remember for every team that I have a song to do it, and then I'm making up extended cuts as we go. All right. So at any rate, yes, the Saints, they're a competitive bunch, but they just typically don't win.
27, Cleveland Browns.
How about the Browns? I mean, that was a very good performance by the Browns. Who are the Browns to be blowing anybody out? But that's exactly what they did. They got it. This is who the Browns are supposed to be. Run the ball, sustaining offense. Obviously, you get what you have with their defense, and Dylan Gabriel did enough in the passing game.
26 is the Arizona Cardinals.
They have lost 5 consecutive games by a total of 13 points. Think about that. 5 straight games by a total of 13 points. Absolutely brutal and devastating for the Cardinals. Feels like a lost season, but it's not, because Jonathan Gannon needs to finish strong to try to get another year.
Next up is the Ravens at 25.
Well, on Monday, Roquan Smith practiced. Lamar Jackson did not, but they did get Roquan Smith practicing on Monday. They're going to need that. They're going to need Lamar Jackson clearly moving forward. And the Ravens have a great chance to be the West Shore Home most improved team moving up these rankings in the next few weeks once they get Lamar back and start rolling.
24, Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, the Bengals moved up a couple spots because of Joe Flacco, although I had already moved them up a little bit because what he had done in the second half against the Packers. Flacco obviously looked really good against the Steelers. I think that the Bengals believe now with Flacco, which is a big part of it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals start to move up these rankings.
23rd is the New York Giants.
The G-Men. I mean, I can't believe that they put up 32 points against the Denver Broncos. That is legit. Unfortunately, they ended up giving up 33 points. That would have been one of the biggest wins for the Giants in years. To win 3 out of 4 against teams with winning records like that, Pretty devastating loss. I'm really curious to see how they bounce back from that against Philly on Sunday.
22 is the Falcons.
Falcons are just super inconsistent. It's really, really hard to know what to do with this Falcons ball club. They 1 week they look great, the next week they look bad. 1 week they look great, the next week they look bad. They're consistently inconsistent up and down.
21st, Washington Commanders.
So the Commanders, they're in a bad spot right now. Now Jaden Daniels looks like he'll probably miss the Monday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not good. They obviously need him to be fully healthy. Maybe even just not as big, but losing Dorrance Armstrong, who had been their best edge rusher for the season, it's not looking like the Commanders are gonna pick up where they left off last season, unfortunately.
How the mighty have fallen, the Jags at 20.
Back-to-back really, really bad losses by the Jags, and you're right. They're going the wrong direction. They've now lost back-to-back games where they weren't really even overly competitive. The Rams game, to lose, to lay that much of an egg, that was stunning and not something I expected at all. Clearly, I took them getting 3 points on the Even Money Betting podcast, but they got a lot of things to figure out.
19 is the Carolina Panthers.
Unbelievable, right? I mean, who would have thought that I'd have the Panthers ahead of some of these teams like the Ravens, the Commanders, even earlier in the season, the Falcons and the Jaguars. But their offensive line, even with some of the injuries they've suffered, their offensive line is playing well. They have a pretty sustaining rushing attack to go along with the defense. It's really playing awesome. J.C. Horn at corner, Derek Brown at D tackle, and all of a sudden the Panthers are a solid team.
Above the Panthers is the Chicago Bears at 18.
It hasn't always looked pretty, but the Bears are getting it done. And I believe, Jack, that they're our West Shore Home most improved team, right?
They are a West Shore Home most improved team this week, moving up 3 spots.
WestShoreHome.com/Ross is where it's at. The experts in bathroom, window, door, and flooring projects. Visit WestShoreHome.com/Ross to get started. West Shore Home, remodeling, reimagined. It hasn't been perfect. I'm still not convinced they're a quote-unquote good team. But the Bears are finding a way to win. They've won 4 straight games. Caleb Williams isn't necessarily playing awesome, but he's not losing the game for them. And they are turnover magnets at this point. I don't know how long this can go on, but for right now, they're my most improved team moving up the rankings.
17 is the Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. So they play Thursday night. I'm doing that game. The Vikings-Chargers, really big game for both those teams. Really very much looking forward to it. I guess, we don't know who the quarterback will be. Monday, in the estimated practice, both Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy were limited. So not sure who the quarterback will be. My suspect is it will be Wentz, and they'll give J.J. McCarthy those 10 more days to heal up. The extra extended time before we see McCarthy again. More great stuff right after this. One of the things I love about you guys is that you're smart and you're hardworking, which is why if you haven't already, you need to check out Brunt Workwear Brands. Brunt was tired of the other workwear brands out there cutting corners. You guys work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So you know what they did? They did something about it, which I love. They built something better. Boots that are both insanely comfortable and built for any job site. Plus, for a limited time, our listeners, that's you guys, get $10 off at Brunt when you use code Ross at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code Ross, and you're good to go. And after you order, they'll ask where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor and tell them it was from me. You know what we like on this show? We like winners. You know who's a winner? Smirnoff. They're the world's #1 vodka. They're also winning by being an official vodka partner of the NFL and our shows, all of them, which I love. There's a reason they've won so many awards. How about this history starting in 1864, which is amazing? They are all about igniting the collective. That's all of us together. Energy, fun, flavors. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Halfway mark is the Dallas Cowboys at 16.
The Cowboys' offense is just that good. Dak Prescott, it's rare to say this for a team that's 3-1 and 500, but Dak Prescott is absolutely in the mix for the MVP race. In my mind, he has been fantastic. Obviously, their defense isn't great, but their offense is good enough to win a bunch of these shootout games.
15 is the LA Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers. Go, Chargers, go. So that was not good for the Chargers, obviously. But we'll see if they can bounce back on Thursday night in the game that I'll be at. They have been able to put up points, but now it's their defense letting them down. And Jesse Minter, their D coordinator, was very disappointed, very clear about how much he felt like his defense played uncharacteristically poorly, which is the biggest reason why they could not slow down the machine that is the Indianapolis Colts.
14, Houston Texans.
Talked about it earlier. I would say a disappointing performance for the Texans. They had the extra time after those 2 wins in a row. I was expecting more from the Texans. The Seahawks had not been good at home. Just a disappointing performance after the bye for Houston, without question.
13, moving on up, New England Patriots.
They are moving up, man. They're good. I mean, they're just legitimately good now. 4-2, or wait, no, are they 5-2? 5-2, playing very well under Mike Vrabel. Drake May looks like the real deal. We were a little bit skeptical of their over-under total before the season on the Even Money Betting Podcast, but it looks like they were right to be at 8.5 or whatever number there. They're going to go over, and they're going to go to the playoffs, it looks like.
12, Pittsburgh Steelers.
So the Steelers, I still feel good about the way Aaron Rodgers is playing and the way the offense is playing. I was just absolutely stunned, floored, whatever, by what we saw from them defensively. I mean, they could not get any stops of Joe Flacco and the Bengals. Chase Brown was running all over them, and then they had no plan, it seemed like, for Jamar Chase. That was a stunningly poor performance, I would say, by the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game. Ultimately, I guess, kudos to them for still finding a way to get it, to be right in the game against the Bengals. But no rest for the weary. They got a big game coming up this week against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. That's a huge game for both those teams. And obviously, Pittsburgh's going to have to play a heck of a lot better defensively than they did in that one.
11, 49ers.
I am so impressed by this team. I cannot tell you how impressed I am by Kyle Shanahan, by Mac Jones, obviously Christian McCaffrey, the resiliency of this group to lose so many of their best players and to still be able to play at this high of a level is super, super impressive. I give them a tremendous amount of credit for what they've been able to do over the course of these last few games. I mean, I think they're going to keep it going. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs or not, but they're going to be in the mix until the very end. And I think they're proving it. It looks like Mac Jones again this week, by the way.
Entering the top 10 is the Broncos. 10.
Well, the Broncos, I mean, I didn't really move them up. I mean, I moved them up one spot, but I don't, that was more about moving the Steelers down because of how bad their defense was. I'm not sure really what to think about the Broncos after that game against the Giants. Kudos to them, I suppose, for getting the win and getting it done, but I wouldn't say it was overly impressive, but a win is a win is a win. I guess it is impressive that they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter and found a way to get a huge win, because that would have been a really bad loss for them in the AFC playoff picture.
9. Green Bay Packers.
So the Packers, they're an interesting one, because I think after those first couple games, we all felt like, and they traded for Micah Parsons, we all felt like the Packers were really good. I'm not sure that that's actually the case, that the Packers are really good, but they have found a way to win a couple games in a row. They've been competitive, so I guess they're a top 10 team, but they haven't really played all that impressively. Dun, 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 dun. Go, Pack, go.
8. Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills, they had a bye, so there's not much to say about the Bills coming off that bye, other than very curious to see how they look coming out of the bye, because obviously they looked really poor going into the bye.
7. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, we talked about it earlier, breaking down their game on Monday night against the Lions, but that was the worst the Bucs have looked all year, especially on offense. They just couldn't really do a whole lot. Now it looks like Mike Evans is done for maybe the year with the fractured clavicle, which really stinks because you're going to lose that incredible streak he had going and was just coming off the hamstring injury. And kudos to the Lions defense, as we discussed. But still, I'm a little bit skeptical now of the Bucs that maybe that's a portent of things to come.
Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles at 6.
Eagles, Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. That's exactly what they did in that game against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, Jalen Hurts took to the air, phenomenal. That was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. And what makes it even better is he needed it. And it feels like every time that people are ready to doubt Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, it feels like that's exactly what he does. You know, when you're just about ready to say, oh, I don't know about Hurts and he's not getting it done, he finds a way to step up and make plays like he did in that game and kind of quiet the doubters, which is exactly what he did.
5th, Seattle Seahawks.
Talked about it earlier, just a very impressive team. You know, I've seen where people say that they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And I think if Darnold keeps playing like this, obviously we're all skeptical. We've never seen Darnold win a playoff game. So I think that there's always going to be some inherent level of skepticism there. But it's been pretty darn impressive what he's done this year, really what they've done on both sides of the ball. They absolutely are a contender. I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to say Super Bowl, but absolutely they're in the mix based on how well they have played this year, really on both sides of the ball. And now they finally did it in a home game.
4th, LA Rams.
So the Rams back to being a top 5 squad, consistent top 5 squad. You know, that was an absolute beatdown of epic proportions of the Jaguars. Super impressive what they did, both sides of the ball. It almost makes you wonder, Jack, if that will be a template for other teams. You know, they stayed in Baltimore all week and practiced at Camden Yards, which is wild. They're putting a new sod in there at Camden Yards after they practiced on it all week. But the Rams are not afraid to do things differently than other teams. And I have a lot of respect for that, or to try new things. And boy, whatever they did, flying in on Saturday, pretending like it was just a regular game and not making a big deal about it, that absolutely worked.
Third, Detroit Lions.
So impressed by them and that win over the Bucs. They needed it, but to be that banged up, and then you don't have Branch because of the suspension, and you still take care of the Bucs like that. You know, it was not a great game for Jared Goff, as we talked about, but if they're going to be able to play defense that well, then when their offense is clicking like it normally is, the Lions are as good as anyone, and we're seeing that yet again this year. Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. Only one game for me this week, and it is Thursday night football again. Hopefully it's like the last couple Thursday nights I've done. Niners-Rams was amazing. Bengals-Steelers was awesome. Now it's Vikings-Chargers. You know what? The tickets are not that expensive. You guys should come to the game and say hello. You can hit me up on social media or email me, ross@rosstucker.com. If you do it, just use the Game Time app to get the tickets. You're taking the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. You download the Game Time app, create the account. Please use the code Ross so you get $20 off, and they know you got it from me. Again, create an account, redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. I love beer. Beer, beer, beer. Buy beer, get gear. Rewards.labattusa.com. Yummy in my belly. Yummy in my tummy. Buy beer, get gear. Rewards.labattusa.com. I appreciate those of you sending me pictures of buying Labatt. Now the next step is to show me the gear you got at rewards.labattusa.com.
Second, Kansas City Chiefs.
It feels like right now there's almost a clear-cut top two teams, although the Lions and the Rams and the Seahawks are all right there also with how they've been playing. But that was unbelievably impressive what the Chiefs did to the Raiders. I don't care if the Raiders are bad, good, whatever. They have 2 wins. And the Chiefs, that was like a high school game. Or that was like, Ohio State playing a Division II team. I mean, that was about as one-sided of an NFL game as you will ever see. Kudos to the Chiefs. Super, super impressive what they were able to get done against the Raiders. Now that they have Rashee Rice back, it really feels like they might end up being what they have been a lot over the last 5 years, which is the best team in football.
Ross's number one team, which is totally meaningless, but it's fun and will get many of you incredibly annoyed, is...
And number 1 is the Indianapolis Colts.
But I'm not saying that the Chiefs are the best team in football yet, because the Colts have proven it every week the entire season. The Chiefs still have 3 losses. I know they're playing better now, but they still have 3 losses. The Colts have been the best professional football team this year. That has been very clear, really, from the start. Nobody wanted to believe it at the start because it's Daniel Jones and it's the Colts. If you look at the entire season, very clearly the Indianapolis Colts have been the best team in football. My number 1 team is presented by Smirnoff, the official vodka sponsor of the National Football League. Smirnoff, please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Vodka, 40% alcohol by volume. Other than that, I'm already fired up for Greg Cosell on Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow, I'll make my picks for each and every game already, if you can believe that. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com as well as backofficescheduler.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.